what sort of impact have you seen the COC and the Defenders program have on the club community as a whole in Washington?
Well, I can only speak to. I'll just speak to the last 5 or 6 years where I've been heavily involved. But just in that amount of time, I've seen it have a huge change. I've seen it open up lines of communication that extend beyond these common ground political issues that we feel are important to deal with, but it opens lines of communication to deal with issues that otherwise may have escalated among motorcycle clubs. And it's a basic chest bumping type shit, but that type of shit used to be the thing that caused problems in the old day, and now it's less likely to do that because there are members of almost all these organizations in the Confederation of Clubs which speak to members of other clubs, and so things tend to get dealt with in a much more direct and much more communicative manner as opposed to being allowed to fucking fester and eventually escalate. And so that's been a huge impact that I've seen on the Confederation of Clubs that the COC has had on clubs in Washington State. I think it's opened up lines of communication that previously didn't exist. I also think it's changed the goal of a lot of people in the community. I think that previously people were more or less just focused on their own organization and that was their primary concern. And although that is probably still true, we're all primarily concerned with our own organizations. We have a much better sense of what the community is and what it means to defend the community's rights and what this concept of common ground means. And there's this whole idea that I think people embrace that if we don't stand together and fight, then we won't exist. And so there's definitely a sense of urgency which is kind of sparked a momentum towards unity that I think is definitely more visible now than it even was 5 or 6 years ago when I first became involved in the Confederation.
Colin Bus. Orange Outsiders from Tacoma, wearing colors.
In May 2010, members of the Outsiders Motorcycle Club and their guests were riding through the city of Lakewood when they observed a Lakewood police officer following their pack and taking photographs as he drove. Having learned from the video obtained from Trooper Piggott's dash cam that law enforcement's evidence can be used by us as effective evidence of police profiling and harassment, a public records request was used to obtain the police report and photos associated with this incident. This proved particularly useful because the officer states in his report that the group was not violating any laws, yet he conducted surveillance of the group and gathered intelligence in the form of photographs and registered owner information. What's disturbing about this is based on the information contained in the officer's report. He submitted his report, the photos, and registered owner information for the bikes to the FBI gang unit, yet he did not differentiate between club members and guests, none of whom, based on the officer's own words, had committed any crime or traffic violation. On September 10, 2010, over 2 years since he was arrested by Trooper Piggott, James finally received some justice when Martin Fox, the Washington Confederation of Clubs attorney, obtained a stipulated judgment against the Washington State Patrol and Trooper Piggott in the amount of $90,000. 1 year after the original call to action protest run, the COC of Washington rallied together and turned out in force to once again protest a bar that was denying access to patch holders. Within 2 days of our protest run, the no cut sign had been taken down and patch holders were being welcomed and served. September 11th, 2010, it's the 1 year anniversary of our first call to action, the first big protest run. We're here for another protest run, again protesting bars that aren't allowing patch holders in. I'm here with Seattle Joe and Double D, two very active members in the club community. Joe, tell me why it's important that you're here today.
Well, first and foremost, what comes to mind is that we're not going to put up with no crap that the judicial system and feds and everyone else are going to dish out to us. We're not laying down for it. There's a reason that we left England, started this country, and it's for the very reasons that we're here today, is we're going to fight for our rights. We have every right to go where we want. We're not doing anything wrong. Our freedom of expression thrown out there to these people, bottom line, I guess we're just not going to take it. America, the feds seem to be coming down on motorcyclists, not just patch holders, not just clubs, but motorcyclists in general, because we represent freedom, something that John Q. Public is quite scared of right now. Throwing all this stuff up on publications and the media and so forth, and that we're something to be feared, man. We're just expressing our freedom, freedom to ride, freedom to go where we want and so forth, and just live a normal life, just like everyone else. We're not asking for anything out of the ordinary or something that is not our God-given right here in the United States.
And Double D, you're commander of the U.S. Defenders Program. A little over a year and a half it's been going in Washington. Really successful in my opinion so far. What do you got to share with us today?
Well, I think the most important thing that anybody who's watching this should glean from it is the myth is not true. Look around. Every motorcycle club in the state of Washington about is represented here, and people are doing nothing but peacefully coexisting and gathering based on a common ground issue. We want to protect our First Amendment right to expression and organize, and we want our 14th Amendment equal protections, and that's the reason we're here. Because we're Americans, we're Washington state citizens, and we're going to capture the right space that, not only we have coming to us, but that we demand. So that's why it's important. The myth isn't true, and we're responsible citizens.
Lost in translation, yeah.
based on tangible, actual incidents that have occurred. And so that's our position. That's what we believe. We've been coming to the Swiss for many years. I've lived here my entire life. We've never had any problems getting access to your establishment. We've come and we've enjoyed it. And I don't
when we had problems with Bandios.
Excuse me. No, you let me talk a minute, okay? All right? Don't try and barrel over me. If you have a problem with me as a customer, you 86 me. You don't 86 my whole club. Bottom line, that's the law.
That's your opinion.
No, that's the law.
Okay, well, I'll have my attorney look at this, and we can talk about it.
Yeah, I would appreciate that you do it because, you know, like I said, this is an establishment that's been going for a long time. Swiss is a landmark. And to exclude every member of every motorcycle club based on an incident that only involves one organization and only part of an organization at that is an overly broad generalization. And it's particularly concerning when we attempt to gain access and you allow car club members with colors on to be sitting in the bar at the same time. That's an absolute denial of equal protection. The 14th Amendment says you have to have equal protection to any identified class. And so you can't give parts of a class equal protection and not other parts of a class. And so it's a very straightforward legal argument. It's the truth. It's constitutional. And so we just want to make you aware of it because we would like to go to your establishment. We'd like to do business to your establishment. You know, and so, you know, I'm from Tacoma and it's our right, and so that's why we're here. And you know what? This is just but a fraction of who we represent. And this is people who legitimately don't want to cause you problems, but we're going to do and bring business to your establishment and want to enjoy our right to equal access. So,
okay.
let's make it a win-win situation.
Okay.
Our
Talk to him.
attorney's number is at the bottom line. I suppose you could have your attorney contact our attorney and we could work something out. Is there any way that you would serve us today? Come in, you'd make a lot of money. It looks to me like you'd make a whole bunch of money.
Be the right thing to do.
That would be love.
We ain't here to cause problems.
No, we're not here to cause any problems. We're here to demonstrate. And another thing that we're here to do, Jack, is like, there's this whole mythology about motorcycle clubs and about, if we let more than one motorcycle club in one place, there's going to be a huge problem. I mean, we are all gathered and completely peacefully, and there's no issues among these different motorcycle clubs. And I can almost guarantee, especially if you have a problem in your establishment that we support, then any issues like that could very definitely be communicated and handled at a broader basis.
Well, when my employees are coming in scared of their lives, when we got Banditos, 1 half an hour, a little bit later, Hell's Angels come in. If those would have crossed over, they felt
See, there's another point.
they felt that would have been, they were concerned about their safety.
Right, and see, in our position on that, and that's a very good example, because that's probably an example that it gets mythologized in the media more than anything. You know, Hell's Angels, the big bad band, Big Bad Banditos and Hell's Angels having fights with each other. I can assure you, first of all, there are no issues between Banditos and Angels in this state, so whatever mythology you heard about that is absolutely based on fiction. And the second thing is, every Hell's Angel from the state of Washington that I know of, all as a business owner, they own tattoo shops, they own establishments like you own, and so that's issues with Banditos and Hell's Angels or Hell's Angels in any of these clubs or any of us and each other. I mean, that's just not the tone of Washington State. What's happening in Washington State is exactly what you see. We're unifying because we believe that our rights base and our common ground issues are much more important than any differences we could have. We realize the stereotype exists. We realize that people are scared because of what they see on TV or what they read in the paper. What we want an opportunity to do is to demonstrate that that's mythology. Look at this. It proves the mythology is wrong. We should all be fighting right now. We're not. We're here saying, hey, we want to be reasonable citizens and we want access to a rights base that we want. You know, I mean, to me, have you ever seen 150 patch holders from every club in every state, be disrespectful?
The fact is, friend, the United States is taking note of what's going on in Washington right now. That's a fact. That's with all the clubs. We're getting kudos up here in Washington. We'd like to be part of it.
That's right.
We'd like to be able to bridge the gap. An individual I got a lot of respect for. He's around here somewhere. His name's Grumpy. He goes, oh, there you are. No, the other Grumpy. He is Grumpy, but I'm talking about Grumpy. He gave a good suggestion. He's like, these establishments, we're able to communicate with them, and let's say they change their policy and they understand that it's a stereotype and we're able to make amends. Let's do something by supporting them. Let's have a run where we bring everybody there and we let them understand that, hey, it's not just words, but it's actual, tangible benefit that we bring. We bring a lot of money. We bring a lot of people to the establishment. It's just a place that we want to enjoy. We want a chance to disprove that mythology. We want a chance to prove that that policy is not justified. It's already not constitutional, but we want to negotiate it. We want to bring business to you, and we want the freedom to come here if we want. That's what we want.
But you see my point earlier, the situation. We have problems. Now, we thought, okay, doing no cut, solve the problem.
Well, actually, but that's like that.
But maybe creating another one, right?
But
it maybe works.
Right, see, it would be nice to be able to eliminate anybody who could possibly have a problem with each other, but that would be similar to saying, even though it's not constitutional, I'm not knocking out people of a certain ethnic persuasion in my bar because, man, I got people here who just don't like them, and it's going to cause problems. It's a good. Right, I know you're not, but that's what we're saying. We're saying it's the same 14th Amendment issue. We deserve the same protection as anybody else until we're disproven. Now, this issue with the particular organization you mentioned, at best, even if that were 100% on your property, which I understand that it wasn't, but even if we're 100% on your property, it doesn't justify denying access to every single other organization here. And, there have been examples where an organization will do something that justifies being removed from an establishment. I'm not saying this example is it, because as I understand it, didn't even occur on the property, but even if that were true, and you're right, and 100% justified denying their access, it doesn't justify denying the access of 100 other motorcycle organizations that are in the state of Washington. I don't think.
The other thing that we've done in the past for people, owners such as yourself, has had some issues or worry. And obviously, it's your business, it's your livelihood, you should worry. But what we've done is open the communication. And if there is a problem, we have some people that you can rely on to call to make sure.
Working out excellent. I appreciate it. We're thirsty. Will you serve us a drink?
Yeah, can we get something to drink?
We can have a moratorium for a day and see if it works.
Yeah.
Every other idea on it?
Hey, so are we going in for a drink?
Come on in.
We tend to justify how we can deny one another. I don't, and you won't, then we can't stop the inevitable. I don't, and you won't.